It was autumn 2017 when a new Sledgehammer game would arrive. Another World War II title with all new graphics and realism. But why were these first impressive impressions so quickly destroyed for many, and how did Sledgehammer manage to recover these poor first impressions, ending in a very impressive experience? Now before we jump to the end, let's take a look at the beginning. The famous YouTuber, that is Hazard, would play and own his very first Call of Duty title, very exciting, and the world would follow this absolute trendsetter. Now initial sales were very impressive, with an estimated 5 million sales in the first week. Now this is comparable to some of the best-selling titles of all time in Call of Duty history. Now when we cracked open the discs and we booted up our Xboxes, we booted up our computers, we were all very impressed by the graphics, the campaign, very dramatic storyline. I really enjoyed it. Now unfortunately it was not all positive though, as being the most popular part of Call of Duty, the multiplayer was very disappointing. Now initial reviews of the multiplayer pretty much said the time to kill is really fast, kind of like Modern Warfare 19 and Modern Warfare 2. Many textures didn't really load very fast, so for instance when you're in headquarters, which I'll get onto, you'd be sitting there and stuff wouldn't load and it was really jarring. At the beginning of the game, this was fixed to be fair, you were forced into the headquarters, which was kind of like this weird section that you went in and you could interact people and you could open up loot boxes before you were able to load into multiplayer games, and it was not a smooth experience. Another feature which is very controversial in Call of Duty is the loot boxes. Now these are pretty much gambling, and World War II would ramp this up, so in your headquarters you could watch other people open their loot boxes and you could see what rewards they get. I think the aim was pretty much you want to buy them, but what ended up happening is in every box you get an XP card, calling card, and a grip, and this kind of sucked the joy out of it. Although there shouldn't really be any joy in gambling, any fun that people had doing loot boxes and spending their money on the game was gone. Now enough of these small and pretty insignificant issues in the grand scheme of things. Let's take a look at the more general things that make up a Call of Duty title and the things that really made people hate the game to begin with. So map design is what I'm going to start with. On launch, World War II would have 13 maps. It's pretty good. 10 of them were core and 3 of them were in the war mode. Now the issue really came down to the fact pretty much all 10 of them were 3-lane maps. You could get the map and you could put it on your screen and you draw 3 arrows. There wasn't much creativity, and really when people enjoy Call of Duty games, one of the main reasons is due to the creativity that the devs have had while creating the maps, as that's where we spend all of our time in the multiplayer. After all of this disappointment with the loot boxes, the headquarters, the map design, the time to kill, how could Sledgehammer undo this mess and make everyone enjoy the game? Not just me, but everyone. Well, it would mainly come down to the community. Now, Call of Duty, or more specifically Activision, is absolutely awful at listening to the community. The reason the World War II title succeeded is because Sledgehammer would actually listen to the community for the first time since the game's release. This would include asking for changes such as rebalancing the gunsmith, getting rid of some of the key features that World War II brought, as well as a few other things just to make the game more fun. And they did. Rebalancing weapons occurred, key mechanics such as flinch were significantly lowered, and other key features of the game such as the divisions, they basically went from being really important to being not very important at all. Not only this, but the matches began to flow much more evenly, people enjoyed their experiences more, and it was just a great title, which for some is one of their favorite titles of all time. This was great. The game was now more fun than ever before, and for some it was genuinely enjoyable. After hating the game for so long at the beginning, this did increase the overall respect for Sledgehammer as a studio. This is one of the consequences. Sledgehammer listens. I was very hopeful for Vanguard because I thought, well, if anything goes wrong, Sledgehammer will listen and they will fix this, and they kind of did, but we all know how Vanguard turned out in the end. But overall, World War II in 2017 was a very strange title, having a pretty rocky start, I'm not going to lie, with bugs, a fairly dry and non-special experience. Now, you may very well have enjoyed the game at the start. I'm not saying no one did, I'm just saying a lot of people didn't. When Sledgehammer listened to the community and they reworked the game, this fairly mediocre title, and being a pretty non-memorable title, turned into what may be one of the most enjoyable Call of Duty titles of all time.